Hello again. This is an app that I use to record music. I'm not a guitar player, so this helps me a lot to create my guitar parts. You can see it looks like a guitar fretboard. It shows you the scales, so you just select your scale, select your chord, select your key, and it will put all the notes on the fretboard and even show you where the root, the third, and the fifth is for a regular triad. You can pick what chord in the scale you want. If you want, do a 1-4-5 progression or whatever. And there's the root, third, and fifth. And all your open strings. The gray represents the nut, obviously. And then all the frets have their inlay markers, so it's easy to find. You can do minor scales, major scales. And first thing you got to do is make sure the developers tab is on. From a blank Excel, you right click on any of the tabs, click customize ribbon, and make sure developers tab is selected. Now you can go to the code. Now here I'm going to view code. Click view and code. Also right click on the left and insert a module, just a standard module. Okay, now we're ready to put in the code. The first thing is I create frets. Basically what you saw is the fretboard. This is what creates the fretboard. Here are all the variables I use. A lot of it is just for formatting. You really don't need this much stuff, but I just like to make it look good. So, go big or go home. And you have to type all this in this order. So this part is an acceleration of Excel code. If you do screen updating false, the code will run instantly, super fast. And here I'm typing in the table for the chromatic scale, all the strings, the patterns for the major chords. That's major, this is minor, then major pentatonic, and minor pentatonic. And now I index the notes in the scale, which makes it easy to pick out the triad. So the notes, the skip notes are skipped, so it's in a continuous array. So this is where I put the three notes of the triad. So that's how you find your chords. And well, major one is pentatonic and the other one's diatonic. And now I actually I delete all the markers that are there already, and I set up the range so I can do my offsets, and I set up the column widths using the 12th root of 2, which is exactly the spacing between frets. So that's how I create a realistic looking fretboard. And then I set up the range for the fretboard, and I start adding top border, bottom border. Then I start kind of creating the scale for the markers, and I start adding, like I said, borders. And this is just, standard border junk. Continuous line borders on either side, and set up my alignment. Let's see. Clear out cells. Set up the color of dark gray and white, so you have, so you can tell the difference between each fret note. Again, it's just for visual style, so nothing too important. You can actually skip all that. The inlays, or the fret markers are now scaled, and then I kind of patterned it after my Ibanez as to the position of the frets. You know, if it's on the odd fret, even fret, the 12th fret double dot, you know, nothing. Now I start putting the actual notes in, so I get the index of the note, where it is in the scale, and then I make sure that the note will appear in that scale, and then I insert the note off the chromatic scale, and then I start putting in the triads into the sequence. So there are 3 different colors, you know, your purple, yellow, your cyan. And then I turn off the acceleration and allow the screen to update, and that'll happen at the blink of an eye. This is where I start adding the shapes for the dots. This routine is, you know, based on the scaling I did above, and I've called out in the dot creation section. It's nothing, again, nothing really too taxing. And then finally, so my gift to you, I'm creating a routine that'll set up the Excel spreadsheet. That way you won't make any mistakes. This will automatically set it up. It'll put in the headers, it'll put in the lines, it'll fill in the data validation pick lists. You know, I mean, that's about it. These, I don't know, 11 lines will do everything for you. Here's all the borders. I consider this one. Yep. And when my borders are done, I start loading up the data validation. So first I do the scale. Next I do the first I do the notes, then I do the scale, and then I do the last but not least, the chord names 1 through 7 in Roman numerals, of course. That's it. Plain and simple. Now go up and click on the very top. There's a little like Excel marker up there. Yep. And now you just go to macros and run that create sheet. There, it's done. So make sure you set up a chord and you set up a scale, like a major scale or something. Set up whatever, G. G is good, or A minor is good because it shows all the notes on the nut. And so now that this is done, and you got to do that first, now we can type in the event code. So we're going to go up here, we're going to view the code for the sheet, and we're going to start typing in for the worksheet change event. And I'm going to be looking for specifically the 3 drop-down lists to be used. So I index off of the actual validation formula in the cell, and a few lines later, you're done. Now, if you don't want to do this, I am including text files so you can just copy and paste, but I want you to see the code so you can trust the code, that there's nothing fishy here. This is it. This will work. And watch this. I'm just going to change the key, drop in an A, and bam, that quick, because we turned off screen updating, that code executed that fast. So there's your triads for now one last trick. You got, not a trick, but you have to save as. Save it to, I'm saving it to the desktop. I'm probably blurring this, but make sure you change the type to a macro enabled workbook and give it some name that you'll find later. Call it George, I don't care. Chord Finder sounds good, or something similar. Okay, now we have that, and one more trick. Turn off those grid lines, it'll look better. Go to View, and there's a checkbox for grid line under Show. There you go. Looking beautiful. TechnoRobo out. Have fun.